This is all greenbelt land. It's grade 2 farming land that Cherwell District Council are taking out of greenbelt protection. Land that's worth about £25,000 an acre, as agricultural land will be worth in the millions as development land. So I'll leave you to draw your own conclusions as to the motivations here in terms of building and developing and putting houses on here. None of these houses are going to be available to the local existing local population, certainly not going to be affordable to any of them. A nice little earner for the university and Legal in General, who are partnering with the university and putting £4 billion into this development, and those sorts of companies don't do that unless there's something really lucrative in it for them. This is the area that apparently will be the green corridor after these houses are built here. This will be the only bit of green space left, although right now it's more muddy brown waterlogged space. This is the sort of place, as you can see, it's way up, almost halfway up my wellies here. This is the area that the people that live here, people who already live here, the people who are going to live here with these new houses are going to be using as their recreational area, where they'll be coming for a nice walk. At this rate, with the additional housing that's going to be on this site, probably putting even more pressure on this area in terms of flooding, I don't think it's going to be so much of a walk and probably more of a swim. So rather than needing wellies, I think people that are going to be living here, people who are living here now and who will be living here in the future, would be better off bringing an aqualung rather than a pair of wellies. And right there is the pumping station for Begbroke that was presumably put there to alleviate this problem in the past, but it seems seemingly unable to cope with the levels of flooding we're getting now, and presumably will be much worse in the future with climate change. Back of Begbroke pumping station, which apparently recently Thames Water have been heard to say anecdotally isn't capable of coping with this level of water. You can see how far up it is in my wellies, right up to my ankles, above my ankles. And there's a reason there's a pumping station there, and a whole set of culverts along the edge of this field is because it regularly floods. And this backs onto some houses as well, so obviously existing residents are going to be dealing with the fallout from this potential development. Absolutely crazy. And on the other side of the hedge from that field that we were just in, yet more flooding in this field. This is all set to become houses to feed the university's voracious need for housing. And it's good. This is good agricultural land as well when it's dry. But obviously, as climate change moves on, the amount of time it will be above water is going to be less and less. In fact, this land is actually earmarked for an expansion of the university building, which you can just about see in the distance there. 14 hectares of land that's been slipped into the plans for Cherwell's partial review of its local plan, theoretically to deal with Oxford's unmet housing need, although none of this land is going to be anything to do with Oxford's unmet need. It's all to do with Oxford University wanting to expand the Begbroke Science Park and effectively create a new campus in this area, along with some tied housing, none of which will be available to locals around here, none of which will have anything to do with any unmet need in Oxford. It's effectively going to be a need that will be created by the university by expanding their site here. Of the 1,950 houses that are going to be built here, at least 1,000 of them are going to be ring fenced for the university, with those 1,000 houses will theoretically be classed as the affordable, in inverted commas, element of this housing. So locals won't get a look in, and people that need housing in Oxford, presumably, even though they'd have to commute from here to Oxford, won't get a look in either, because it will all be ring fenced and earmarked as tied housing for the university when they expand the science park, as far as I can tell. But you can just see how much standing water there is here. This is the concern that many people have in this area, including the local MP, Leila Moran. And with the amount of flooding that we're getting now in this area, it's a game changer. If the housing goes ahead here, which if the Conservatives on Cherwell have their way, is probably a done deal. This is what they're going to be competing with, and this is the sort of, once they start concreting over this and tarmacking it and putting houses on it, not only are the people that are going to be living in these new houses going to have to put up with this, but also there's going to be potentially a knock-on effect to all the local areas. My house is just sort of over that way. All this runoff is going to go somewhere, and the developers no doubt won't really give a toss where it goes, because once they've built the houses and moved on and banked the money, it won't be their problem. But you can just see again, this is just crazy amount of water here. We've not seen this in the past. It's just obviously getting a lot worse due to climate change, and obviously it's not going to get any better as we continue to build on green spaces and remove all the green infrastructure here, all these trees that are here to sequestrate carbon and offset the effects of emissions. Not only that, the additional building here and the amount of traffic and new roads and heating systems and thousands of people living here is going to add to the emissions in this area. So not only are we losing the green infrastructure, we're also making the whole situation a lot worse.